just like that, they buy it. They eat it up. You pander to them, you thank them. I mean, really, people, I thought you were a little bit smarter than that. I mean, it's just so easy to say the name of the city. You cheer.
Hey, Stephanie,
you cheer. I mean, just come on.
Welcome to the A Show.
Happy freaking holidays and welcome to the A Show 62 year-end episode, part 2, with myself, Justin, and Meelz, the Kings of Pro Wrestling podcast. Wow, I've had a little bit too much eggnog. Welcome to the show. What's going on?
Do you actually drink eggnog? Let me ask you that.
I can't. I literally cannot drink eggnog.
Why not, though? Wait.
I'm lactose intolerant.
All right, so there's a lactate eggnog.
Really?
There's 100%. There's all types of eggnog. There's almond milk eggnog. There's probably oat milk eggnog. There's so much eggnogs in the world. I love eggnog. I'm a lover of eggnogs. I love the nog.
Mix it?
No, I don't mix it. I don't drink. I'm a loser. But I do. I just love eggnog. I love I find people who don't. I don't know who they, how they grew up in their family without any sort of Christmas joy of having eggnog, but I do love eggnog. And, but first of all, how was the Christmas?
It was pretty good, man. It was chill. Of course I spent Christmas away from my family this year, so I had to come up with like different ways to suffice not being around family, which is like FaceTiming them and going to get making a dinner. Like I made myself a dinner, and I just had a really nice, cool Christmas where I kind of adopting my own habits and my own legacy over here in LA on my own.
My Christmas, I just really did nothing. That's kind of how my Christmases tend to go. I really love just being not to be able to be responsible for anything or doing anything and just seeing, happy people open gifts. That's really kind of it. Yeah. I did get a couple Secret Santa gifts. I got from my job, I got an Amazon Echo.
Oh, that's dope.
So when you have Alexa problems, I can also have Alexa problems. I got charger, just one of them wireless chargers.
I need to get one of those.
Yeah, I got it. To me, it kind of reminds me of when we used to have cordless phones and we just put it on the hook to charge. I'm like, that's what it kind of reminds me of. I'm like, yo, have we gone? Is this retro? How have we gone back so far?
What a comparison.
What else did I got? I got we did RNC Secret Santa this year. Yes,
we did.
We did RNC Secret Santa this year. I'm interested, you have not gotten your gift because
I have got my gift. My gift.
No. You haven't gotten it. And I'll tell you why you haven't gotten it. Because you sent it to be shipped to your office.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because the Secret Santa thing is supposed to come to your house. You're supposed to
it was supposed to show up before Christmas. That was the point.
First of all, it did show up before Christmas.
Oh God! All right.
I got a Secret Santa. I got a great gift. Would you like to know what it was?
I know what it was. Because I know who your Secret Santa was.
Wow! Do you know I know who your Secret Santa is?
That's so funny that we all know who each other's Secret Santa is. Because I know who Mark got, but I also know who Cam got. So you put these together. So you should probably think that's funny because they both asked me what to get each other.
What a couple of goobers. Because this is not supposed to be the idea. And I remember I used to tell him, listen, the idea of Secret Santa is you're supposed to use all the knowledge you know about this person to be able to, come up with a gift idea.
Some people don't pay attention because I had 3 people come up to me asking what to get somebody. And I was like,
terrible.
do you talk to these people every single day? I was like, you guys are all, that's why they don't scroll up in the chat, because they don't pay attention to anything.
This is awful. This is not the way. I'm going to do so much different Secret Santa next year, where everyone's going to I'm going to have bonding games. Everyone's going to have to bond before. It's a requirement to bond before, I'm going to have everyone fill out a questionnaire. I'm going to have everyone fill out that, because this whole Secret Santa thing, I don't like that people are coming to you to determine what their Secret Santa gifts are.
Well, I am the sage leader of RNC. So of course
you brought us all together like Zordon and the Rangers. Yes.
Yeah. So of course I know like what everyone likes, because I'm friends with literally all of you.
Yes.
But I thought it was funny. I have to say, now that Secret Santa's over, I helped get your gift. Like, okay. Everyone cheat. Well, actually, next year, you know what you should do? You should say, do not ask Justin. That should be a rule. Don't ask Justin.
I'm going to not ask Justin. How about that? We're going to add that. You know what? You might not even be in it. I'm just,
That'd be fair. You know what?
No, that's a lie. I like you, and I like you in the Secret Santa. I think your Secret Santas over the last couple, especially this year.
Yes, this year was so good. I love Secret Santa. I think I would love to still be a part of it, obviously, but I think that there should definitely be a rule where it's like you cannot ask someone. You especially cannot ask Justin. Like, I'm off limits because everyone asked me about everyone else, but some of the people that were asking me had the same person, and I was like, oh man, this is just classic. I didn't ask anybody about mine. When you told me who mine was, I was like, already got it.
That poor fellow.
That poor guy. But yeah, Christmas is pretty good. Speaking of Christmas, the greatest gift that keeps on giving is our year-end special. Not much going on in wrestling this week, obviously. So we should just get right to our categories, right?
Yeah, 2 tape shows. No one really,
Well, Raw and SmackDown were really, 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 really good this week, I must say.
Yeah, I mean, they're good I think for knowing that they're tape shows, they usually tend to go a little bit deeper, have these matches that we typically don't see. I mean, Mustafa Ali versus Andrade Cien Almas match, to me, incredible. To close the year out on was a really good match. A championship change hands on Christmas.
Love it.
When do you ever see that? And
it should have been Rusev. I'm glad it was Rusev. I think they're whenever Nakamura loses something or loses a title or kind of is on the low end of a feud, he usually comes back strong. So that makes me excited for him, but also for Rusev because he has new feuds.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Rusev got to be in contention for one of the best U.S. champions in WWE at this point, because the man has just been synonymous with the championship. I really like
Ronda and Natty on Monday too.
Ronda and Natty was cool. You know what? Yeah, for them being a tape show and having Natty work a 40-minute match before working another match later that night, I think the rib was on Natty. I'll be honest with you. So that's all I'll say about that. You had a tag team championship match earlier in the night between the Revival and those champions, Rude and Gable. Another great match. So, you know what? We got a lot of things to sort of look forward to. We also got the news that Impact is leaving Pop TV.
Yeah.
Going to another network.
Pursuit. So
good luck if you find it. That's all I got to say.
Somehow they are still alive, brother. I have no clue how.
Impact, when Quan, and shout out to Quan, who let me know that Impact Wrestling has been around longer than WCW was. I was just like, huh. But I think they're around by virtue of WWE choosing not to buy them.
Well, I heard rumors that they were gonna buy them last year when they had that meeting, but I guess WWE was like, nah. It's kind of like picking up the girl that she's like, everyone knows that this girl is gonna cause you trouble,
right?
And it's like, yo, like, you probably don't want to get with her, yo. Like, she's already been through a whole bunch of stuff. Like, you might want to give her some time to rest and kind of reevaluate herself. Mm-hmm. A lot of people just jump right in. Spike TV just jumped straight on in.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, dealing with all those contracts, gotta be some sort of, the way TNA, I keep saying TNA, the way Impact Wrestling negotiates, it's got to be a headache for WWE to bring on all those contracts.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. But the fact is, like, even just having Austin Aries or Alberto Del Rio in your immediate orbit is just a bad idea in
Oh
all
my God.
actuality.
You
Just
know they're
never.
gonna try to sit out their contracts like Hogan and Nash did. Like,
Oh
they're
yeah.
gonna try. It's like, listen, brother, I got 8 more months on my part-time deal. Like, only supposed to work 3 times a year because TNA decides to tape 6 episodes in one night. Like,
That's some shit NXT doesn't even do.
yeah. I mean, really, yeah.
But let's go ahead and we have some special guests that we have to call in just a couple of minutes. But let's run through some of the other categories we didn't get to last week in our year end. We have 24 slots in our year end list this year, and shout out to everyone that has filled it out. But
Right.
Let's get first off our tag team of the freaking year, and hopefully we can get a women's tag team of the year next year. Let's just go through our winners.
Yeah.
This year I had the Undisputed Era as my tag team of the year. I think they really had some of my favorite matches of the year in NXT or in wrestling in general. I think the tag team of Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly was something that I didn't expect to pop off as well as it did. They ended up giving me some of my favorite matches, but even their 6-man matches where Adam Cole joined in on the fun was really, really great and really dope. And I also think they added a lot to the War Games match. But even when you think of just their characters, they're just these great cocky, like they play themselves as kind of like the male versions of Mean Girls, where like they're just super cocky but they're actually idiots, and they're all like giving these promos and saying stupid shit. Like especially Kyle O'Reilly, who I think is amazing in his role in the Undisputed Era. But they just give so much personality that, like, I asked this question before, like, there's no way you can keep these guys heels going into 2019. Like, the fans love these guys, and I think that they're ready for the next step, and that's obviously either Adam Cole breaking off and going into the title picture, or just having Bobby Fish and the rest of the guys kind of switch everything up and see where they go as singles or something like that. But I think the sky's the limit for these guys in 2019, and I think they're some of my favorite acts on NXT right now.
If I had to pick one, and I did pick one, I picked the Usos, because to me, the Usos year, I didn't think their year could get any better by virtue of them just being the Usos for the last 10 years. But they've managed to continue to just bring the incredible encounters. I mean, to me, they started off the year tag team champions. This was their first year of ever making the WrestleMania card, which is crazy to think considering how long the Usos have been in WWE. This is the first time that they've made it to WrestleMania. It kind of looks bad in their history, actually.
Yeah.
But just SmackDown tag team champions, consistently great matches, consistently, you can depend on rap battles, making them entertaining. And it's not even that. It's just like on the mic, they've managed to step it up to the same level that they're at in the ring. And the reinvention of the Usos that's been going on for the last 2 years just continues to evolve. And that they're just kind of the centerpieces for the SmackDown tag team division. If you don't have the New Day in it, New Day's doing something else, you can count on the Usos to still have that fantastic match on the card. If you need a worthy tag team champions to face off or drop the titles to like the Bludgeon Brothers, the Usos is going to get the best out of the Bludgeon Brothers that they can. So to me, it's really the Usos who have kind of cemented their top 5 status to me of tag teams in the WWE. I mean, I don't think there's anyone in this current generation besides maybe New Day. Yeah, touching the Usos in terms of just like the prestige and the legacy that they've kind of left behind.
I absolutely agree. You can't go wrong with either of those. I know a lot of people would probably say like, Young Bucks or anything like that, but I mean, Young Bucks surprisingly didn't do a lot of. I mean, they had the Golden Lover stuff, but
I mean, I think they switch from junior heavyweights to heavyweight, so they have that transition this year, I believe.
Yeah, and to me, I just think that their run in New Japan kind of got a little long in the tooth, especially in ROH. It got a little long in the tooth. I think they consistently had great matches, but I don't always think that the stories were all there. I think the story they had with the Golden Lovers was excellent, but that was literally only the first 3 months of the year.
Right.
So, like, if I had to even say that, I'd say that the Usos and even the Undisputed Era had just a stronger arc to me throughout the whole year, and just to me, better matches. I'll just go ahead and say it like that. I think Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain is one of my favorite just feuds of all year. Let's go into most improved. Meelz, who is your most improved wrestler of the year?
Can we tag team this up at least improved as well? Because I feel like it's an incredible dichotomy when we look at the most improved to least improved and just where they're at, how they're doing, and everything like that. Because in terms of my, my most improved, my least improved, I picked Buddy Murphy as most improved.
Yeah.
Buddy Murphy emerging on the scene in the WWE, on the WWE main roster. I mean, I didn't really have high hope for him. I didn't really think he was actually less than 205 pounds. So that was always a question for me. But Buddy Murphy is someone who was really just a third tier player in NXT. Some guy who's really just enhancement talent. Some guy who's a great hand backstage. And he really kind of just broke the glass ceiling in more ways than one. The man has upped his game tenfold, 100%. I can't even say like 50% or 75%. The man has upped his game a full 100% to sort of deliver these incredible matches. He's honestly one of my favorites of the year. And in terms of least improved, I'll say this, is the opposing to Buddy Murphy, I would honestly say Nia Jax. Nia Jax, who's been around for a couple of years and doesn't seem to have, been able to sort of pick up these amazing match qualities, or at least being able to tell a story or being able to perform in the ring at a high level. And a lot of controversy came around her this year due to the fact that she was, supposedly injuring people and just being careless in the ring, punching Becky in the face, breaking her jaw, injuring Zelina Vega, potentially injuring Charlotte Flair. Like it was a lot of things going around with Nia Jax. And to me, what should have been a continued upwards trajectory after she won the women's championship at WrestleMania just kind of really, really fell flat when she didn't live up to just the champion status, honestly.
Yeah, I think that I agreed with you in my list as well. I think Nia Jax was the least improved. I think even given chances with Ronda Rousey, it just didn't seem like, and I say this on the show all the time, she's just not connecting, and she doesn't seem enthused or even like she cares about any of the the programs that she's in. I think she had a big chance to kind of put over the face breaker thing, and all we got was like a weird pose with her fists.
Yeah, I think her promos lack when someone who gets that amount of heat, I think people usually relish in that opportunity, and they kind of rise to the occasion when they're getting that sort of natural heat where people, it's very hard in wrestling to find people who legitimately hate you. People cheer The Miz now. That's how hard it is. Yeah. So when you find that and you're not able to sort of build upon that, it's just sad,
Yeah, it's very sad. And I mean, just to go on the other end of my spectrum, like my most improved was Carmella. I put that on her like her last 6 months of this year, or her last really
when he was talking about at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, exactly. Like even just like the last half of her year, like of course she won the Money in the Bank. Not the Money in the Bank, she won the title. She cashed in the Money in the Bank to win the title. Her matches with Asuka, I think this is like the first time I really think I could have somebody on this list that has like a worst match of the year contender and actually won most improved. But even toward the end, you kind of saw her kind of improve in the ring a lot. And, even though she's been given a lot of limited ring time, she has made up for it by making matches in like the Mixed Match Challenge and like the little matches she gets on SmackDown, really get them over because she's very good at connecting with the crowd. And that's something that she kind of learned with End Zone Kaz, but kind of carried on to her own. She won in that split, undisputedly.
I mean, to me, this was the first year that Carmella was actually competitive in the ring.
Yeah.
Like she was actually given matches against people of high calibers, and it wasn't against like, oh, we're doing this feud, and she would just end up playing the third wheel or the person just in the corner just cheering. She was actually giving a competitive role on WWE television. And as we saw the months go on, I mean, to me, the James Ellsworth type of deals kind of distracted from her. I feel like they felt like they needed a heater, but at the same time, it kind of distracted from Carmella building on her own. And when she lost the title in that time, but she was slowly building. And after her title reign, her face turn was just the transition was just effortless.
Remember we talked about that too. It was like, the decarmelization of Carmella was something that was a real interesting experiment, a real interesting thing to say, because it took away all of she didn't really change.
Yeah.
Like she stayed the same, but it was so natural when she became a face that it was just literally R-Truth coming up to her and saying, hey, Lana, getting her mixed up with Lana. Or
Maurice, I think.
Oh, it was Maurice. It was Maurice, and then her, turning it on. And I really I enjoy character. I think that just as someone who is a crowd favorite now with R-Truth, there's no better person to put her with. And I really, really like how she's ended off the year. I really enjoy her as a character, and she's a really nice person in person as well. I really think she's a really cool person. I met her this year. Let's go to pay-per-view / special of the year, and this goes for any promotion. I think it goes without saying we both picked the same pay-per-view here. NXT TakeOver New Orleans is undisputedly the show of the year.
Unanimous, man. It's just from top to bottom. I mean,
one of the best shows ever, right?
Yeah, I mean, the significance of the show, the matches on the show, the ladder matches. I mean, this in terms of significance of the show, the inaugural NXT North American Championship, NXT's first ever mid-card championship, the championship that everyone has kind of been, craving over for the last number of years, and you end up seeing this incredible division that they have surrounded by the North American Championship with Adam Cole, EC3, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, and Velveteen Dream have a killer match in the opening of the show. We saw Shayna Baszler defeat Ember Moon and was crowned the NXT Women's Champion. And in another incredible back and forth counter that saw Ember Moon kind of just, her swan song off into the main roster.
Yeah, she never got the rematch there, I think.
No. The Undisputed Era versus Authors of Pain and Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong. And, it was for the NXT Tag Team Championship and the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Trophy, which ended up being a major point in the Undisputed Era story. I believe that was the show where
Roddy turned.
He turns on Pete Dunne and he sides with the Undisputed Era. And from there on out, they were back in full swing,
and they were better than they were before. I think who they are now is directly, and I love in wrestling, audibles always kind of make a story better sometimes. And the audible here was Bobby Fish literally got injured the week before Mania weekend, and they had to pull the audible. And I don't think that either me or you didn't predict that this would have happened, because I think Roderick Strong was definitely going to be on this team sooner or later. But I think having it happen there and having it happen the way that it did was just incredible booking there and incredible audible. And it furthered a story that they could continue the whole year, and they did. You also had Aleister Black winning the title on this show. And essentially you had another 5-star match from Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa at the end there.
I think from top to bottom, you look at the significance of the show in the current landscape of NXT, and you really see that this was a landmark show. Especially when you look at WrestleMania the following night and understanding that they had to follow this.
Yeah.
And there was no way that they were following this. To me, this was the best show of the year, hands down, hands up, at the show. Yeah.
I really love this show. I don't think there's anything. I think the only thing I had close to it was New Japan King of Pro Wrestling, but this is just incredible show. NXT takeovers this year to me were the best NXT takeovers they've ever done.
Yep.
And I'll say that without a shadow of a doubt. The next one is the most tasteless promotional tactic. I think we both here had the same thing. What did you say?
So I said Crown Jewel too. The Crown Jewel is still happening, and I'm talking about the second Crown Jewel of the year, because the first Crown Jewel of the year, I think it went off without a hitch, minus Titus O'Neil busting his ass. But besides that, Crown Jewel, after the whole Saudi Arabia controversy that was happening with, the killing of the reporter and everything like that, just kind of going back and forth on determining what they're going to do. And ultimately, WWE decided that the show must go on despite all types of things. And, through this year, we took a real stance against it. We said we are not going to watch the show. We are not going to cover the show. And to this day, I haven't watched the show. I've watched clips of the show and being able to determine why that main event was so bad, but we still have yet to actually see the show. I mean, it's just bad things all around.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I haven't heard of a more grating conversation of this year than that. but I also haven't seen anything just WWE be so callous about the way that they acted about it. And, you know, we spoke about it on the show as well. It's just like we refused to watch a show, you know, that had to do with that at all. And I think next year I'm going to continue that ban. I don't think we're going to talk about any more Saudi Arabia shows as long as they have them.
Right. I mean, yeah.
We're going to go into worst wrestler of the year, male and female.
Oof. Oof.
Who did you pick?
Jinder Mahal and Nia Jax, respectively. Jinder Mahal has, you know, when he had the opportunity to be WWE champion last year, I think he didn't really live up to the hype as we all talked about. And then this year, he just continued the regression. You know what? To be fair, last year, I did feel like he had a sort of an upswing in sort of his fight and things like that. But without the WWE championship, man, this guy is just walking veins and muscles, man. He's just someone who hasn't really done his part to deliver like we all thought he would. I mean, his body looks phenomenal, but he hasn't done his part to deliver. And Nia Jax, we just finished talking about Nia Jax and why she hasn't really lived up to any of the championship opportunity that she had at WrestleMania. And she had a big one at WrestleMania, and she just hasn't delivered. Her matches with Ronda, I'll say, have been fantastic. But otherwise than that, I don't think she's delivered in any capacity at all.
At all. I went ahead and said Tama Tonga was my worst wrestler of the year, male. I think people need to cut the bullshit and stop acting like this guy is going to turn the corner. I think this is the year to prove that he's not going to turn the corner. He's not some talent that's going to step it up when everyone else is gone from New Japan. He is what he is, and he's just, to me, just an annoying, grating, terrible wrestler that doesn't back up the shit that people put on him and the shit that he says himself. He's terrible. I think people just need to come to terms with that, and come to terms with New Japan is really kind of making a mistake trying to push him. He consistently had the worst matches in the G1. He brought down every show that he was on, and I think people need to stop lying to themselves saying that it was cool, the shit that he was doing on social media and on the shows. It's like the cussing, the middle finger stuff, the fact that he had to get fined. I don't think anyone in New Japan gets fined, but he got fined. Like, it should tell you all that needs to be told about someone who's as despicable as him. Like, sure, there are people like Baron Corbin and Jinder Mahal, like Meelz said, that are absolutely terrible wrestlers, but he's just a total package of awful. I also said Nia Jax for female. I honestly, 2019 is shit or get off the pot for her. Honestly, I got to be real.
Yeah,
it's shit or get off the pot here. Worst feud of the year, Meelz.
I went with Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin. I mean, there's no other feud that to me, it's the worst feud of the year, mainly because it was the main feud of the year. And then it also, to me, I don't know if it's a large part of it, but it seems like a large part of the reason why Raw ratings have gone down to unpreviously thinkable lows. I mean, they're starting off the show, they're ending off the show. It doesn't seem to be really going anywhere. Braun Strowman gets injured, kind of cuts it off with his legs. Baron Corbin is trying to carry this feud. None of it works. Even when they eventually reached the climax at TLC, it just, to me, it's just like there's nothing really I wanted to see about this feud. Braun Strowman, or really anything with Baron Corbin, because he's, I'll say that.
My worst feud of the year was Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. This is a feud that is 4 years too long. It should have been wrapped up before this year. It did not get wrapped up. It was just an awful, terrible, terrible feud that didn't get either man over. It actually made Brock even less of a star. It just in turn of how everything was pushed for him. I think Roman was actively hurt and has been actively hurt, character-wise by this feud, and did him no favors. And then we finally ended it at SummerSlam, and then they went right back to it. It's a confusing amount of booking that the WWE has done with this feud. I just thought that as soon as I see Brock or Roman really coming out every week and cutting promos on Brock Lesnar, it just got to be too much. It filled up too much of Raw this year, and on a show that I just unabashedly say is probably the worst wrestling show of the year is Raw. But I mean, a lot of it was filled up with this feud, and it just took up so much time that it killed everything on the show.
Right.
Worst pay-per-view of the year. Oof. I think unanimous. I think it's pretty unanimous to me.
Backlash
2018.
2018, and
Yes.
and I'll say it because a lot of it had to do with circumstance. A lot of it was the initial crown jewel happened, I believe, days before, like literally a week before this show ever happened.
Yep.
A lot of it was shifting around. I mean, some people are on Raw, some people are on SmackDown, are going after championships, and we don't know what's going on where. Quite honestly, the highlight of the show was the opener with Seth Rollins and The Miz, but nothing really followed up. You got Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss, which I can't even remember. Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton, which to me can't at this point. I can't even remember it. It can't be good. Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass.
Remember that happened?
I remember their attempt to push Big Cass, and Big Cass kind of, by all intents and purposes of all reports, kind of ruining it for himself. I mean, it looks like he was in line for actually a big push upon his return from Tyrion Squad, and just the heel hook doing him in, and it was just kind of a questionable, like, what happened? What's going on here?
And that was a part of like kind of the restructuring of Daniel Bryan. I looking at where Daniel is, I will admit now it's a little perplexing how they booked him in the beginning. Mm-hmm. But I thought that he gave Big Cass I honestly thought he was going to lose that match that night, and he didn't. And I was like, well, we see where they think of Big Cass at here. And then like a week later, he was gone.
Right.
Then you also had like AJ Styles and Nakamura in their like third match in 1 month.
The double dick kick.
Yes. I think that
a no disqualification match ended in a draw. Do you realize that? Like, that happened.
You had Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which is a fucking awful match. And then you had a 20-minute Roman Reigns Samoa Joe match with a broken down Samoa Joe trying to carry the match with Roman Reigns, who their styles just didn't. They should work, right? Like their styles should work.
They should. But both of them are hard hitting guys, and it should just be real back and forth, but it just doesn't seem to work.
And it's just a terrible, 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 awful show. And you also had like Carmella and Charlotte Flair, which continue the Carmella push. And actually, I thought that match was passable, but I think that they had a better match months later.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that was a fucking terrible show. Most confusing booking decision.
Oof, I went with The Miz and Daniel Bryan's feud ending at Super Showdown in the most just deflating fashion. And I'll say it's deflating for the fact that it ended the feud. If it had continued from there on out, I would have been like, oh, okay, let's see where they're going with this. Maybe they're building The Miz, not necessarily building The Miz, but giving him a real sort of argument after, The Miz has beaten Daniel Bryan twice already. Maybe they're structuring this for a real argument. But the fact that it was over, their penultimate match happened at Super Showdown, number one contender for the WWE Championship, and it kind of just ended in 2 minutes when Mr. Small Package returned.
Out of nowhere.
Just out of nowhere. And it was just weird. It sucked. To me, it sucked. To me, it ended a feud that was years in the making, and it gave it an unsatisfying ending to it.
My most confusing booking decision was the entirety of Survivor Series 2018.
Ooh.
I have no clue what that was. Raw completely sweeping SmackDown and being the superior show.
A terrible show.
Yeah, just on the virtue of being an awful show is pretty damn telling. I thought for a pretty solid show where the actual Survivor Series matches were actually not that bad. Mm-hmm. The fact that Raw won all of the matches was just, and then the thing is, they didn't even win all the matches. The New Day won one of the matches, or the SmackDown tag teams won one of the matches, and they just say, "Oh, nope, doesn't matter,
doesn't count." Sorry.
So it's just confusing booking all around.
Yeah, to me that didn't need to happen. I kind of saw the writing on the wall after Raw hit that third straight victory, and I was just like, "My God!" But yeah, that was confusing as hell.
And finally, before we get into our next segment, the most overrated wrestler.
I have to say Cody Rhodes, man. I mean, I haven't watched much wrestling outside of WWE, but I know that, to me,
You watched the Cody Rhodes match. You watched the Cody Rhodes match this year.
I've watched Cody. I watch All In. I watch, a few ROH matches. I watched the New Japan match. To me, he isn't as good as he probably thinks he is.
People prop him up on the fact that he's a nice guy on Twitter. He's
a nice guy on Twitter. He, to me, All In, great idea. I mean, to me, whether the actual show itself, I won't say much on that, but to me, All In is just like, wow, these guys are doing it for themselves, and I kind of understand and respect that. But overall, to me, handling his things in the ring, to me, he kind of reminds me of Dolph Ziggler, just some guy who believes he's much better than he probably actually is. And he's, to me, even worse than Dolph Ziggler. He's just not that he's bad. It's just that you're not as good as you think you are. That's my take on Cody Rhodes.
This might be controversial to some. This might not be. I gave Kenny Omega my most overrated, and this is again some next level shit because last year, last year he was my wrestler of the year, undisputedly my wrestler of the year, and this year he has not only wrestled less matches, but also just the quality of his matches have just been down. Just doesn't feel like he's into it. And I'm tired of seeing a lot of people like putting over these matches as like some type of like virtuoso level matches where it's just like, I think there's only one stretch of time where he was actually killing it. And that was when he won the title from Okada at Dominion. And then there were a couple of G1 matches that I thought were great. I thought he was great during the whole G1. But then after that, then what? He's done literally nothing. I don't think, like, even when you think of volume, and we talked about the volume versus quality last episode, where it's like his volume of matches, I wouldn't put him over a Johnny Gargano. I wouldn't, like, storyline wise, I don't think Kenny has it. I don't think he has great facials. I don't think he's like the best seller. I don't even think he's had better matches than any of the Ciampa matches that Johnny Gargano had. If I want to keep it even spicier, I don't think he's had a match better than Seth Rollins in the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
He has the same matches that are based on a lot of moves, a lot of V triggers, which he barely hits now. Like for a large part of the year, he just seemed tired. And I think that a lot of people should just be honest with themselves. Like, this guy regressed in 1 year. And especially with all of the other shit that he did just on social media, like the blow ups and like the fact that he's not really the greatest IWGP heavyweight champion. Come on. Like this guy had a noticeably less amazing year than he did the last year. And I think, like, even the Jericho match to me didn't really age well, just as far as all of the foolishness that happened in the match and all the botches. But Kenny Omega, man, my most overrated.
I'm interested in also your runner-up, because you had for your runner-up as most overrated, the most overrated of the year, you had All In.
Yes, my runner-up for most overrated was All In. Not even a wrestler, a show. I think All In should not be rated because of the fact that of what it was, if that makes sense. Like, what it was is a moment that is completely separate from the quality of the show. It's not like it doesn't matter if the show is trash because they did it. Like, yeah. No. It does matter that the show didn't move me. It does matter that the show was, not timed out well. It does matter that the show had a lot of like the match that I wanted to see the most, the main event with the Young Bucks and Rey Mysterio, and everyone in that match only went like 7 minutes. Like it's shit like that. Like who wants a 27-minute Marty Scurll match? Who the fuck wants that? Like, I think this show was overrated from start to finish, and no one wants to admit it. And I just have to say, like, as a whole, All In was overrated as a show. As a moment, no. As a show, absolutely. Yeah. Even with the bullshit that happened before between StarCast and shit like that. Like, I hold that. I'm holding that grudge. I'll hold that grudge.
Yikes.
But we're gonna go into our match of the year with a couple of special guests from the Real Wrestle Chat that we have after this break. Just hold on tight with the A Show. We'll be right back with our special guests, and we're gonna go through the rest of our categories and finish everything off. So we'll be right back after this.
Oh, wait a minute. Inside out, down goes the champion. What a response from Rusev. Savage calling for it. Monster kick. Cover. Oh, happy Rusev Day. Here is the winner and the new United States of Knock America just succumbed to a hostile takeover by the Lion of Bulgaria.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the A Show, episode 62, a part 2 of our year-end special. I'm here with Meelz, and we have special guests with us today on the show. We've been talking about them all show. They're going to run down some of their topics from their year-end list, and we're going to talk about some of our hottest topics on our year-end categories list. So who do we have in here? We got my boy Ben Coyle, Common Coyle in here. What's going on, Ben?
What's up, guys?
We got Chris Mack, the guru himself.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Y'all already know. What's up?
We got Mr. H Visibility, my co-host on Spot Caller. Cyrus is here as well.
I don't feel too good.
Oh, my God.
He's selling now.
Oh, my God. We also have, from the Looking Glass, my boy X. What's going on, X?
What's good, everybody?
And finally, last but certainly not least, we got MJ, man. What's going on, man?
What's going on, y'all?
All
Cyrus
good.
about to pull a Jerry Lawler.
Oh, my God. Cyrus, are you going to make it through this episode?
I don't know.
Oh, my God.
Is everything well, man? You good?
I don't know.
He got the same thing that they had last year at TLC.
Mumps?
When everybody got
Oh, shit.
Kyrie Stane's hand for the year.
Kurt Angle in the Shield.
Yeah, bro. So what we did last episode, we had a couple of categories we went through with Emilio Sparks from Wrestle Rap. Shout out to him. What I want to do is kind of get a representation from everybody at Real Wrestle Chat. We had a couple of guys today that couldn't make it, but I'm going to read off some of their picks on their year-end list. But what I want to know is like you guys' picks. So I want to start with Ben. Like, what were your picks from last episode? Just your winners, like for like Wrestler of the Year, Female Wrestler of the Year, Feud of the Year, stuff like that.
Wrestler of the Year, I went Johnny Gargano, which I'm sure a lot of people probably will be high on the list. I had a quick decision between him and Matt Riddle. I think Matt Riddle had an all-time Mania weekend last year and getting signed. He's going to get overlooked in a lot of lists. Female Wrestler of the Year, I went to Becky Lynch. She became Molten Lava the second half of the year. Feud of the Year, I went Gargano Ciampa. I loved the first two, didn't love the third one, but I still think, the feud's still going. It's lasted, going on a year and a half, 2 years now. Guilty Pleasure of the Year was tag team. They're not on the Impact, the Rascals. Zachary Wins and Desmond Xavier. They also were PWG champs. Dragon Gate and DDT they really showed out there this year. And cringeworthy moment of the year for me was Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn.
Oh, shit.
What were your best TV matches of the year? Just really, really quick.
Gargano Ono was my NXT match, and Owens Rollins was Raw match, and AJ Bryan was SmackDown.
And lastly,
wasn't Gargano Ono last year?
Was it?
I think so. It was like late last year, I think.
I think it was. I think it was like December.
It might have been.
I think it might have been December. Hold on one second. Let's get a fact. I need like a professional fact checker.
All right, let me go and check that out real quick.
Yeah, it was last
6th,
year.
Yeah,
it was in December. Yeah, it was in December. It was a good match though.
It was fantastic.
If it aired in December, then it kind of counts because I always start tallying stuff up for next year at the start of December for some reason.
Like the Oscars?
I always think I should save my year-end list till after Wrestle Kingdom. Maybe not this year, but usually.
I'll take it. It doesn't. Nonetheless, Johnny Gargano, Cassius Ohno, still a fantastic match.
It was a great match.
Chris, what was your picks, man?
For my wrestler, I'm really hipster with this shit right now. For the past summer, up until October, November, I was just watching a lot of Pro Wrestling Noah and a lot of independent lucha for the time being in All Japan. So for my wrestler of the year, I had Takashi Sugiura, Pro Wrestling Noah. He had the GHC Heavyweight Championship for almost the calendar year. Almost said it. The dude is 48 years old, I believe. He just came back from almost a serious heart condition, and ended up winning the GHC Heavyweight Championship from Keno in the start of the year, and was just having excellent matches with Naomichi Morofuji, Go Shiosaki. Had just recently a credible match with Kazuhiko Nakajima, and he just recently dropped the title a couple of weeks ago to Kaito, I believe it's Kiyomiya, who won the Global League a month prior. So now, Kiyomiya. But he was for his age, nearing 50 years old, and still having spectacular, hard-hitting matches. It was really good. It was a hell of a feat for him, and because I remember watching him start up when he was a junior heavyweight nearly 13 years ago with Noah. And now he developed as one of the premier heavyweights in the world today. It's pretty fascinating to see. For my tag team of the year, I had.
We're not doing tag team. We're not doing tag team.
Not doing tag team game. No tag team game.
We're doing female feud. Yeah, female wrestler of the year. I can't see what you filled out. I know you didn't fill out everything.
All right. I filled out everything, but my female wrestler of the year, I had Charlotte Flair. Even though she had in the middle portion of her year, it was kind of bad. With her time, working with the Iconics and the time with Carmella as well. But she had an incredible match with Asuka at WrestleMania. And then when the Becky Lynch feud picked up, really when Becky got hot, it was during her time, and even to this day, right now, it has been involved in Charlotte. And Charlotte has just been in the big matches, she never disappoints. She really channels the exact same spirited energy of her father, doing ridiculous bumps and having these crazy brawls night in and night out. And she's really just riding the wave right now. It's just being really the best big match women's performer I've seen in the last couple of years, right next to Miko Satomura.
All right, just really quickly, your feud of the year and your cringeworthy moment of the year.
My feud of the year was LA Park versus Rouge. That was awesome. It still is awesome to today. And my cringeworthy moment of the year is Kenny Omega Twitter meltdowns and defending pedophiles.
All right.
You ain't wrong about that.
I want to touch on that for a second. How do you feel as though that moment kind of defined the rest of his year?
Pretty much.
Yes. As soon as it came to that, everything just started crumbling for him. Post G1.
The crazy part about it is I wasn't even surprised when he did it because he had a tweet y'all remember the United thing that happened last year where dude got beat up and dragged off the plane?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He had a tweet about saying something is it bad that I don't care about this? I'm bro, you could just shut the fuck up. You didn't even have to say nothing.
All right. X, let's get to your who is your wrestler of the year?
I had a slight victory over this, but Johnny Gargano slightly over Seth Rollins. For female wrestler of the year, I had Charlotte Flair because she had an incredible match with Asuka, and that's one of my match of the year candidates right there. Feud of the year, I had Gargano and Ciampa. Cringeworthy moment of the year, I had Joey Ryan's penis druid at All In. That shit's put into my memory, bro.
Cyrus, what about you? Who was your male wrestler of the year, your female wrestler of the year?
Daniel Bryan for my male wrestler of the year. He came back at Mania. I was happy to be there, and slight flex. I don't know. Him putting Almas on, just having amazing matches on SmackDown, putting a lot of young talent on, especially, taking the pin to Mustafa Ali last week, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ronda Rousey as my female wrestler of the year. The feuds and Raw to Raw has been awful. But when it's pay-per-view time, she just goes out there and kills it all the time. The Nia Jax feud was probably some of the worst shit I have ever seen. But, when it was time to perform at TLC, it was something.
What was your cringe-worthy moment of the year?
Tama Tonga saying, check my rap sheet during his T1 match. When you are a Air Force veteran, yeah, you're not fooling me.
All right, MJ, who was your male wrestler of the year or your female wrestler of the year?
Male wrestler of the year, of course, I gotta go with Johnny Gargano. He had a unreal NXT run. Female wrestler of the year, Becky Lynch, because she's at the top. Like, she's a female at the top, like, kind of transcending all that stuff. My feud of the year is actually Becky Charlotte, because you have Becky who's like at the stratosphere, but you could still keep Charlotte like as hot as she is, and like playing like kind of like the face heel in between whatnot. My cringe-worthy moment of the year is actually Ghetto's heel turn.
Oh boy.
And everything that happened. The chair swing, Jay White throwing
the chair.
Yoshihashi's face exploding.
Yoshihashi tripping, I think, pussing himself.
His
and then
face exploded, man.
Yeah, and then Jay White still throwing a chair at his head, and then we haven't seen him since. So that, yeah.
All right.
That's a blessing in disguise.
Very much so. Let me run through the guys that couldn't be here. That is my homie Big Tim, Chris Novak, and actually, yeah, I think that was it because everybody else was in here. Tim said that his wrestler of the year was Johnny Gargano. His female wrestler of the year was Becky Lynch. His feud of the year was Gargano Ciampa. His cringeworthy moment of the year was the Dick Druids. So I guess everyone kind of
it runs in the family, man.
Oh, there we go. And we're off. I can't.
Someone call Seinfeld.
Cannot take Chicago. Can't take Chicago guys anywhere. Can't take Chicago guys anywhere. Shout out to Tim for that. We're gonna be reading off some of his picks as we go along here today. Chris Novak, shout out to him as well. He said his wrestler of the year was Becky Lynch. His female wrestler of the year was, and we should have, and that's my fault. We didn't clarify. So I guess she's just his all-around wrestler of the year. His feud of the year was Charlotte versus Becky Lynch. His cringeworthy moment of the year was any of Ronda Rousey's tweets to Becky Lynch. And that's actually funny. His guilty pleasure of the year was anything Sasha and Bailey do. So shout out to him for staying on brand. But Meelz, let's get to our matches of the year. We're going to do it a little different this year. We're not this year, but this episode we're not going to do our runner-ups. Just for in the fairness of time, let's just get to our straight-up matches of the year. I think we had the same match of the year here. I said Johnny Gargano, Andrade Cien Almas at NXT TakeOver Philly. What did you say?
No, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas. I mean, I think just in the buildup of the match, I don't know if we knew what to expect. We know these two have had great matches with each other before, not with so much on the line, but I don't think anyone expected the literal 5-star match that we got on that night in Philly. Almas, when he's on top of his game, can really hang with anyone. Gargano is, judging by at least 7/8 of the people in here, I guess, Seth Rollins isn't wrestler of the year to anyone but me, but it is what it is.
Did anyone?
No one else picked Seth Rollins. Thank you. No one else picked Seth Rollins, but you know what? I picked Seth Rollins, so I'm hoping one day when I meet Seth Rollins, I'm able to let him know that you guys think. But
wow, he going to snitch.
Yes, I will. Nonetheless, Gargano and Almas, I mean, I watched it the other day and still felt the same way. And I think that's really the making of an incredible match. When you're able to watch it, even with time that has gone past, it still holds up nonetheless.
Right. Koyo, what did you say for your match of the year?
Mine was the G1 final, Kota Ibushi and Tanahashi.
All right. What, you want to say anything about the match, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, I just thought it was a great match. I was a little bummed out by who won, but overall, it was one of the few matches where I felt like a little kid again watching it. The near falls were popping me and everything like that. But Gargano Almas was incredible. I think it's a match that made 4 new stars that we may never get again, between Gargano, Almas, Zelina, and Ciampa coming out of it looking like $1 million.
Right.
We may never see anything like that again.
Why were you bummed out? In the end, we understand why they had to have Tanahashi win the Kota Ibushi match, but what kind of bummed you out about that?
I mean, I just thought they were going to go to Kota versus Kenny at the Dome. I thought that we'd get that this year, especially with, looks like Kenny's leaving for sure. And, you never know with Ibushi. He's got 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door. So I thought they were going to, put some faith in him that he was staying, but looks like they're going back to the ace.
Mac, what was your match of the year?
I also had Tanahashi and Ibushi's the G1 final was my match of the year. It was just one of those peak Tanahashi performances that we barely get from time to time. And even though he could still have a great match, at the rate that he is and how his body is, he was just on another level that night.
Awesome. MJ, what was your match of the year?
Mine was also Tanahashi and Ibushi.
Oh, wow.
Tanahashi, it was a straight up technical match, and then Ibushi was getting the best of them, and then old man Tanahashi just started beating the hell out of Kota Ibushi. It was like a culmination of his whole G1. He was 8-1-1, and at that point I was like, okay, I don't know if Tanahashi has anything left, and then he did, and he beat him. So yeah.
I love the slap boxing in that match. That popped me huge. I love that.
I love that we're calling it slap boxing.
It is slap boxing.
No, it was. They were smacking the shit out of each other, and then I also thought Ibushi was going to get the rub, but I know that they have a habit of booking him because he's a freelancer. They don't like to give him anything, so I was like, all right, well, Tanahashi's going to beat Kenny at Wrestle Kingdom. I guess we'll see.
Cyrus, what was your match of the year?
Aleister Black versus Andrade Cien Almas.
No, that's an interesting pick. Why'd you pick that?
We get a rare sight of Aleister Black smiling, and it was just a fantastic match overall. I love Aleister Black and I love Andrade. So I know it isn't the Johnny Gargano match, but Aleister did come out looking fantastic.
And I think that's fine. I think, you know what, Aleister, if there was ever a category where someone was underrated for the whole year, it was him. He was putting on really good matches with people that you wouldn't expect to be putting on really good matches with.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people that they harp on the botch in the Lars Sullivan match, but he made Lars look really, really great even in defeat.
Bro, I think it was mainly because it really wasn't. Most of his title reign and his title contention wasn't in the main event.
Yeah.
It didn't really close the show. It didn't really have that exclamation point that people look for when they looked at this Gargano and Almas match, when they look at the Gargano and Ciampa matches, when they look at those sort of things. It didn't have that exclamation point of okay, we're closing the show, we're crowning, Aleister Black. I feel like that was the only thing missing. But nonetheless, I mean, he's had a great year. I mean, injury, even with the injury, he came back and still been putting on great matches.
He had match of the year for 20 minutes with Adam Cole. Legitimately 20 minutes.
I loved that match.
That was a great match.
Yeah.
Also, Aleister Black, on his debut, he beat the shit out of Almas, and then a year later, they're in this fantastic title match. So, hey, it's not a Johnny Gargano match. Don't kill me.
No, I think that's fine. I'm absolutely. I think there needs to be a conversation said that if Johnny had a really great 2018, then so did Aleister Black, even in the spots that he was in. And I mean, just the Adam Cole match, the Lars Sullivan match, and then his match against Gargano, literally just a month ago, was really, really amazing as well. X, what was your match of the year?
I'm on the CN Gargano train, man.
Okay.
That's an all timer right there, bro. That's not even an all time NXT match. That's an all time great match.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember watching this shit live on my laptop. Right, my girlfriend doesn't even watch wrestling no more with me, bro. And I made her watch it with me that time. I broke something once around her, and she said never again. Right? So we watching the match. Right, she don't even fuck her wrestling no more. G, tell me why her ass started crying when this nigga lost. Damn it!
Stop it! Letting you know now. That's your second warning.
My bad. But she started crying when Johnny lost. That's how I knew it was an all-timer, bro.
All right. Actually, I fucked up a couple of seconds ago when I named off the other listings. I forgot my man Rob, Ugly New York, actually sent his listing too. So sorry, Rob. His wrestler of the year, or I guess his overall wrestler of the year was also Becky Lynch. But his match of the year was the 6-man ladder match from NXT New Orleans, which is another match that got 5 stars on that same show. Has people forgotten about that match?
I haven't. I was in the building, so I can't.
I mean, I thought
it was great.
I remember it. Yeah,
this was still a great match.
Can I ask
not to foreshadow, but my moment of the year comes from that match.
Oh, really? Talk about it.
Go ahead
and say it.
When Adam Cole hit everybody with the super kicks and then threw out his first, Adam Cole baby, and you literally saw the entire audience do it with him, and that's when I realized he's over. And, I didn't expect him to any chance to win that match, but he, pulled the sneaky heel and snuck it out. And, it's just one of those things I posted on Twitter all the time, and just awesome to see him finally really get everyone behind him.
I think that really set the tone for the Undisputed Era that year, too.
Yeah.
He had an incredible year as a fact.
That was the night Roddy turned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he had to pull double duty that night, I think.
Yeah.
Can I ask everyone a question? And more so, I mean, this is going to go within the match of the year conversation, and we don't have to carry on much longer. But I know we all, say like, oh, this one was the match of the year. This one was the top one, like undisputedly. But does everyone have a personal favorite match of the year? Just something that's just like, even if no one else enjoyed it, at least you enjoyed it. I'm not saying it has to be a match that sucked, but it was just something that you were just like, man, I enjoyed both. Either I enjoy both competitors in the match. I like the way the story went from here and there. I went like, it's just a personal favorite match of the year. I want to actually Justin this first because, he's the only one that hasn't really gone in about his match of the year. A personal favorite.
I got a lot of shit for this from like certain people for actually rating the match this way. But I gave a match this year like 5 stars just off the rip because I just thought it was just an incredible fucking match.
I remember this.
I just thought it was an incredible usage of. I actually gave 2 matches this year, this type of 5-star. But I'll go ahead and say my personal favorite match of the year was Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin at SummerSlam.
Oh wow! I thought you were going Shinsuke versus.
That's where I thought he was going.
Same one. Same type of match. Same type of match. Listen, I love when WWE books things the exact way that they should. But like, here's my thing with 5-star matches. They're perfect in the sense that they were booked exactly the way that you thought they were going to be booked, and they absolutely excelled your expectation. My expectation that night was not to fucking see a Finn Balor Baron Corbin match. It was
SummerSlam.
At SummerSlam. It was to see Baron Corbin lose, have my guy like go over, and then have Baron Corbin lose in the way that a dweeb like him should lose. Finn Balor came out not only as the demon.
You didn't have to call him a dweeb.
He beat him.
Here's a dweeb. Stray.
He is a dweeb. He came out as the demon, beat Baron Corbin in like 2 seconds, and then posed and left. It was perfect.
Listen,
what's better than that? It's 5 stars.
What's better than that? I want to pose this question now to Cyrus while we still got him here in this world.
Yeah. Let's go.
Personal favorite match of the year.
I was just about to mute myself so I could cough, but a match that we covered on Spot Callers, the 300 light tubes match.
Oh my lord!
I forgot the competitors' names, but I'm about to cough.
It's Ryuji Ito and Masashi Takeda.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's just fun to watch.
You're a different type of person, Cyrus. I know this.
Hey, and I'm paying for it.
Ben, what would you say is your personal favorite match of the year?
It was a PWG match, which shouldn't surprise anyone that knows me. It was the Rascals versus Bandito and Flamita. Just an awesome tag match. And if you guys haven't seen it, the Rascals have a really cool finisher that doesn't make any sense in the world, but it's cool to look at. It's the push moonsault, which I think is just the coolest thing I've ever seen in wrestling. Doesn't make a bit of sense, but it looks cool.
MJ, what would you say is your personal favorite?
Pete Dunne versus Ricochet.
Oh, that was good.
one.
I forgot that happened.
Title versus title.
Because like it was two different styles, and then they did their styles, and then they did each other's styles, and then that match was amazing.
Were you mad about the finish to that match?
No, because I don't know who you have go over. You know what I mean? Like it's tough because you don't want Pete to look weak, but you don't want Ricochet to look weak either. So you had to yeah.
But
I think he would have had
match,
Ricochet. Yeah, I think he would have had Ricochet win that. To be honest.
I mean, but win both titles. I mean, I think both titles were on the line, right?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, it was a title match, and I'm.
Oh
no, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I know it tied into the whole like Undisputed Era storyline that they were going to do at War Games anyway. But yeah, that match. I loved it. I was like, oh, and then like, yeah.
All
right, X, you're on thin ice already.
All right. I'm not saying it again, but I actually got two, and they're both Aleister Black matches. I got Adam Cole and Aleister Black, because that whole match is brutal, right? And then there's a spot in there where Aleister does his backflip, that weird moonsault he does, and Cole cracks him with the kendo stick.
Oh, yeah.
Mid-flight, perfectly, just like that super kick he did on Ricochet in Brooklyn. And then my other one is Black Almas, the one Cyrus said earlier. And because I just love matches where they look like they're hitting the shit out of each other. Like they legitimately look like they're beating the shit out of each other. I just love that shit. That's what that match had. Plus the theatrics of him hitting Black Mass on Selena at the very last second. That was up there for me.
Oh man,
That's one of the 5-star matches I put this year.
Chris Mack, what's your personal favorite?
Speaking of beating the shit out of each other, my personal favorite was a match from like the Power Hall show between Hideyoshi Kamitani and Takuya Nomura against Kazuchika Nakajima and Masa Katamiya. Nakajima beat the shit out of Nomura in that entire match. The finish, they had Nakajima, he just kicks him directly at his head. And you could just hear like a gunshot was going off and knocked him out completely cold. Like Nakajima was a beast in this match. It's a really great match. I really recommend for you guys to check out. It was from July the 10th. But Nakajima and Takuya Nomura, who's like one of the rising stars in Japan right now. He's only 2 years in. He looked tremendous here, but it was all the Nakajima show in this match here.
Oh man, if I had to pick a personal favorite, I actually have two. I do. It was from one of the recent NXT takeovers, and it was Tommaso Ciampa versus Velveteen Dream. And that match is just the back and forth of that. I think the moment you create a full star with Velveteen Dream, and it wasn't just, a talent that's just on his way up on the trajectory. This was a talent that you like, man, this guy could really carry the brand once he really fully gets there. To me, I gave it all the stars, 6 stars, 7 stars, 8 stars. That to me, that match was fantastic. And if I had to go one more match, I have to choose my wrestler of the year versus probably, the wrestler of a lifetime, Seth Rollins versus The Miz at Backlash. First of all, before we run into that was an amazing match.
I'll give it to you. You're right.
That was an amazing match. Not only that, for as much as for Seth Rollins to be on the role that he is, and on first of all, a god awful show. Backlash was terrible.
Oh yeah, that was probably the worst pay-per-view of the year.
And they opened the show and they legitimately stole. Nothing else competed on that show. You had Seth Rollins in the middle of his incredible run. You had The Miz, who has really just kind of grown into like one of the best talents that they just have on the roster. And, for The Miz, Seth Rollins to, curb stomp Miz and really get the sort of finishing sequence on that. Seth Rollins kicking out of 2 skull-crushing finales already. I mean, to me, just back and forth, it was incredible. So I'm going to choose that as my personal favorites of the year.
The only Miz match on anything.
Listen, I had to give The Miz his praise. I did the personal favorite just to talk about The Miz.
I knew he was going to
yeah.
bro. I knew he was going to do
a Miz somewhere.
Sorry.
Before we move, go ahead, Cyrus. Go ahead.
About Meelz' first guilty pleasure pick or personal favorite. I did see Velveteen versus Tommaso Ciampa in Miami, just on a house show, and I like that the the finish that they did in Miami was very not similar to the finish that they had at the show, but they still did the boot spot, which was really cool. And I was just like, oh, so you kind of see how they put these like matches together and, like build upon it, because they decided to keep the shoe spot, which had Miami upset, but it was really cool.
Yeah, because they do the shoe spot in the actual match, and the match goes on for like another 5 minutes after that spot.
So when I saw the shoe, I was just like, oh, he's like loosening up his boot. Oh, the match is about to be over, because I seen this already. But then it just keeps going, and I thought that was really cool.
All right. From our list, Big Tim said he agreed with Andrade Cien Almas, and Chris Novak also agreed with. Andrade Cien Almas and Gargano, and Chris Novak also said Almas versus Gargano as well. So I think that match pretty much is undisputedly everyone's match of the year this year. I think it's going to win a lot of awards. Let's go to our next category here, Meelz, and it's going to be the worst match of the year.
This is the Razzie of matches, essentially. It's just the worst match of the year. The one, and this isn't something that's just like, it's not that we're going to harp on crazy like the match of the year, but it is an acknowledgement of just like, they didn't get everything right all the time. And, if I had to pick my worst match of the year, I picked Carmella versus Asuka, and I love Asuka. But that match, the one where Ellsworth was in the cage.
Extreme Rules.
Yeah, he escapes the cage, and just so much stuff goes on, and so much, it's just, to me, that was when I was worried about Asuka. But you know what? She's, SmackDown Women's Champion right now. I think Carmella ends up better, as outside of her reign than she did inside of her reign. Like, it's just a match that just was terrible from top to bottom.
I agree with you on that. That was the moment that I was very concerned. I didn't want to say anything like that, but I was like, I gave it a dud. And that's probably the only match that I gave a lot of Tama Tonga matches duds this year, and Nas, and nope. Sleep. But I thought that just as far as here I'll lay some criticism on Asuka as well. I think Asuka, the performer that she is, could have elevated this match to a lot better than what it was. I am not a proponent of, well, look at what she's got to work with. There are people that work with a lot worse. And I think Asuka could have made this work, but I just don't think that neither performer exactly did their best here. And as far as you got a heat magnet like James Ellsworth in the ring with you, there's a way to make that shit work. And I think that even just with the talent in the ring, with Asuka having the most, obviously, she just didn't make it work. And I thought that's why I was so disappointed in it. I knew she had to lose. I knew it was going to be a loss. No one wins a title at fucking Extreme Rules. But, it's just a terrible, terrible, terrible match. Cyrus, what was your worst match of the year?
Worst match of the year? Tama Tonga versus Juice Robinson, G1 Climax.
Oh my God.
Block night 2. I don't fall asleep watching wrestling, but I did for this one. I remember turning on the match, waking up, and the thumbnail just had Tama Tonga walking out, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to try to rewatch this.
Oh my God. Thumbnail.
That match is god-awful.
What would you say, Ben? What would you say is your worst match of the year?
This should be a big homer pick, so Meelz will appreciate this. Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman at SummerSlam.
Ooh. Bad.
Mainly because when he took the squash, I got about 20 people tweeting me. And then I got Justin tweeting, Coyle made all those tweets for nothing.
Goat tweet.
Cyrus said, "You okay, man?" And I said, he hadn't taken the loss yet. And I was like, yeah, I'm straight. And then he got squashed, and I didn't tweet the rest of SummerSlam.
I had to make sure you're okay. I love you, man.
Yeah. But I had he was going to win that. He was going to win the Universal title later that night, but didn't work out that way.
All right, X, what was your worst match of the year?
I had something that was equal to a slap in the face. I had Bobby Roode versus Mojo Rawley. I felt
that on
so
Raw?
good watching that. Yeah, that was on Raw.
It had to be on Raw, man. It wasn't anywhere else.
It was one of those episodes Raw was watching.
Had a full build and everything, bro. I was disgusted.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, it did.
With Bobby, I cooped him.
Yeah.
I took a
Hit him
whole
with an
month
old
off
man
watching
double leg takedown.
Well, I can't even remember what that match was all about, to be honest. Also, Mojo Rawley had a push for like 3 months this year, and he's not even on TV anymore.
Who?
Mojo Rawley, like, still doing that thing from last year, talking about Killer Instinct, and then in the same moment gets scooped by Bobby Roode.
Also, yeah, Killer Instinct must be an Xbox game to him. That's not really.
We're gonna start calling Mojo Rawley Gronk's friend.
Yeah, that's all he is.
Gronk.
MJ, what was your worst match of the year?
I'm gonna double up with Cyrus here, but I'm gonna pick a different Tama Tonga match from G1.
It has to be the Kenny Omega one.
No, it's the Yano one.
Oh boy.
It's Yano versus Tama Tonga. Anytime you have a comedy wrestler and then you still have interference and a rep bump and Tama loses points, that match was probably one of the worst I've ever seen too.
It was a fight between that and the Kenny Omega one. That was a disaster. That shit had 8 people in the ring at some point. And for what?
And Red Shoes doesn't call like a DQ until like 5 minutes later either.
Are we? Can we just go ahead and say right now that everyone's saying that was like a good storyline, was completely full of shit?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
just for Jay White to end up being the leader anyway, when this was a whole thing about like there's no leader. I'm
gonna have to put myself out there because I said that it was. Oh my bad. I said that it was good in the beginning, like around like the Golden Lovers Young Bucks match, and then when Kenny,
of course,
and then when Kenny fought Cody, I was like, all right, I'm done. Like this is terrible, and then it just got worse.
I actually, are we doing worst feud of the year too?
No.
Well, for spoiler alert, that was my worst feud of the year with the Bullet Club and the Elite and the entire New Japan roster. Just
the New Japan roster.
But Matt,
I need to hire Meelz to book after the most recent episode of the A Show.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm available. I call Vince McMahon coming back. Mac, what would you say is your worst match of the year? However,
I had one initially from the AAA Triple Mania show, but I'm going to go and switch that over for Flip Gordon versus Will Ospreay, the best of the Super Juniors. That was one of the worst fucking spot fests I've ever watched in my life. They try to do everything, just imitate the Ricochet Ospreay match from what was it, 2 years prior, and it was not good. Like none of it was good. Like it was just the crowd did not care. Gordon sucks. and Ospreay was just, he was in a bad funk that portion of the year too. Like none of his matches were hitting at all up until late in the year. I'm pretty sure he's still recovering from that neck injury. But my God, man, that match was awful. It was just bad, man.
I think Will Ospreay sucks.
Turn that up.
He can't sell. He can't sell.
Do you remember?
Or he sells too much.
Had a match with Marty Scurll where he was destroying his neck, and then instead of selling, all he would do is just scream. He is stomping on your neck. He is slamming your neck onto the apron, and you just get up like it's nothing, do your thing, and when it's time to sell, you just scream.
Let's go to our other guys who couldn't be here. Ugly New York, my man Rob said his worst match of the year. Something that I forgot about too. Brock versus Braun at Crown Jewel. I didn't watch the show. That's why I didn't watch the show. I don't have much context. Did anyone else watch that match?
We got it coming up again here soon.
Oh shit, we do. Yeah, I didn't watch the match. I can't really call it. Who else? Big Tim said his worst match of the year was, where's it at? I'm blind. All of a sudden, I'm blind. Did he do it?
Oh yeah, he probably did.
Oh no, he did. He said it's Kenny Omega versus Yano. This is his worst match. So there you go. The trifecta is complete.
Yep.
The trifecta is complete. Shout out to Tim for that. Chris Novak said that his worst match of the year was Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 34. Wow. You know what?
All right, that one was bad.
That was a terrible match. I've never seen a match we went on about four years of the crowd completely shitting. Crowd completely shitting on a WrestleMania main event, like the fourth year in a row.
I was in that building. Slight flex again. They
man's killing us, bro.
Hey, I'm on my last leg. Let me do this. Like god awful. I would say like soon as Roman's entrance finished, they already had like a beach ball out. By the third German suplex, you know, they already started doing their same old shit chants, you know, just the usual Brock Lesnar hate, and you know, combine that with Roman's hate, get well soon. It was just bad, and like I'm trying to pay attention because I care, but like just the arena shitting on it, just like slowly maybe not care, like. Everybody's booing. Like I'm not going to be able to watch this.
Yeah, it's a fucking tragic match, which completely perplexing in how they booked Roman and Brock this year in general. Where it's like you have Roman lose, and then you have him go through another redemption angle for like the sixth time, it not work. Roman loses a bunch more matches. Like Roman lost a lot this year. Like. He won when it mattered, but like any other match, you knew he was losing. He like Bobby Lashley beat Roman Reigns this year. Is anyone gonna remember that?
No.
Absolutely not. Exactly. Who? Absolutely not.
What was crazy to me about that Roman Lesnar match is how they built up the F5 all year.
Yeah.
You know, Braun didn't kick out of it. No one kicked out of the F5, and then Roman takes 6.
Jesus Christ.
And still loses.
Thanks.
Awful fucking match. Hottest news story of the year. Meelz, what was your hottest news story of the year?
So my hottest news story of the year happened at the top of the year, and it had to be Ronda Rousey signing to WWE. Just in terms of everything, it was the hottest signing. It was the most anticipated. It was the most I think probably one of the most newsworthy things that WWE ended up cashing out on after the Royal Rumble. I mean, just the picture of her pointing at the WrestleMania sign is just will forever be etched in everyone's mind. I think it was, you know, it calls for a lot of stir. And to me, when you talk about the women's evolution of the WWE over the past few years, I think they finally put their money where their mouth is and hired someone who, like a Brock Lesnar, or like a Rock, or like an Austin, or whoever they choose to bring back, can really put eyes on the division. And I think this was the first time they're sort of, they're putting some sort of long-term plans into the division, because, we're hearing rumors of possibly Ronda closing the show at WrestleMania next year, a lot of things like that. To me, this is the first true investment in the WWE women's division and the evolution thus far. That's what I got.
Okay. Yeah, I said the same thing. I think obviously you had a lot more tragic news happen, obviously, and we talked about that in last episode. But I think Ronda Rousey, just as far as something positive, like I think it's that, then it's probably Daniel Bryan for the year.
After that, I had Shawn Michaels unretiring, which was like
Shawn Michaels' haircut.
Meelz, you remember that episode where like you shoot last? Here he goes.
He looked like Gil from The Simpsons.
Wow. I will never forget Meelz shoot laughing for 5 minutes on air after After we put that picture of Shawn Michaels with no hair.
Y'all should have never showed me that picture. Oh my god. He was so unsexy boy on that. But yes.
But I want to pose a question. Were you in any way, or anyone, you know, who wants to answer this, like, was anyone kind of annoyed with the way that they introduced Ronda at the end of the show, and kind of after Asuka won and she was going to pick her choice, Ronda comes out and like, did anyone, like, I know a lot of people didn't like it at first, but like looking back on it now, end of 2018, how did you feel about her actual first on-screen appearance as a active member of the roster at the Royal Rumble?
I mean, I wasn't mad at it. Yeah, I wasn't mad at it. I mean, looking at it in retrospect, I mean, what do we? It kind of, you know, cuts Asuka's moment really, you know, down.
It's short.
Yeah, Asuka wins the Royal Rumble, and it's a news item for all of like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Before Ronda Rousey
The
comes
first
out.
ever women's Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah, first ever. And then it suddenly becomes about, well, Ronda is here, and it's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt about it.
It's funny. You go almost 12 months later, and you know Asuka finally wins the SmackDown Women's title, and Ronda Rousey's involved yet again, which is pretty interesting. But you know, but still, it still was a good moment either way. You know, it turned out well for both of them.
Well, like even like with Ronda showing up, like people were just like, you know, Asuka became like, you know. Like she was shoved away, but she still interacted with Ronda during that segment. So, you know, Asuka wasn't like completely like, you know, swept away. Like she was still part of that moment.
I love Asuka's moment where like she went to shake everybody's hand, right? Asuka looked up and down like, I will kill you. Don't play with me.
Yeah, like, you know, people they'll get upset about it, but it's whatever. Especially at this point.
X, what was your hottest news story of the year?
It had to be Daniel Bryan's return. Like I will never forget the moment that alert hit my phone, and I was like, nah, get out of here, get out of here. I went on Twitter, everybody's going crazy. You going crazy? Meelz going crazy. I remember Chris's tweet was literally just intelligible letters. Like 2 minutes straight. Like he didn't say nothing coherent. He was just like, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole timeline was going crazy. Like there were 6 yo's on my timeline, and like in order, bro. It was crazy. That's a memorable moment forever. And then he got killed 2 days later by Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. That was crazy.
I love that moment too. I mean,
and people were mad worried. They're just like, oh man, he just got cleared, and then he's gonna start doing, you know, get killed like this. And I just like, all right.
I just want to speak to how crazy Vince is. The day this man gets cleared from CTE for 3 years, he's like, you know what I'm gonna do? You know what you're gonna do tonight, Brian? You're gonna take a power bomb in the apron, Brian. No, and Brian's crazy self was like, you know what? That's a great idea. I'm gonna do that tonight.
To be honest, I feel like if we're gonna go all in on having Daniel Bryan wrestle, let's go all in and give him the full experience. I personally, I love the moment, even though yes, we are worried for Bryan. I mean, I don't think, you know, I was worried for him. Like, remember Survivor Series that 1 year where Kurt Angle fell out the ring and almost broke his neck? I don't think I was as worried about that. I don't even think I was worried about Bryan as much. I just felt like, to me, for the entire like run where he was talking about doing all these things through his brain, somehow I just felt like I think he knows that he's fine. And I think it's really WWE in a business standpoint that's saying he's not fine because they don't want any sort of repercussions. But I legit feel like Daniel Bryan, after all these years of talking about how he's gone through tests with his brain and all these other things, I feel like he legit believes that he's fine. And you know what? To me, that moment proved it when they just threw him back in the swing of things. I was very happy. This is the Daniel Bryan that we all wanted.
Coyle, what was your hottest news story of the year?
The TV deals.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That, you know, it's all people talked about for a month. Oh, I heard this, or, you know, I heard this, or I heard they're signing with Fox. And, you know, it's going to change the landscape of how Raw and SmackDown look come next year.
It might change the show. I don't know how the hell we're recording now. SmackDown going live on Fridays, but we'll see. We got a couple months to figure it out.
Holy shit, you're right. I just realized that shit.
Really? Yeah. I mean, we got a couple months to figure it out.
I remember there was a lot of competition around then. I'm like, y'all know anybody else signed $2 billion TV deals? But all right.
Hey man, they scared, bro. They shook. They shook New Japan and ROH and
MSG, bro. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, AEW. They're about to take over. Mac, what was your hottest news story of the year?
Well, mine was pretty somber.
Wow.
I had the Roman story as for number one. I don't know. It's just hit me to the core. When the announcement came through of him, being diagnosed with leukemia again, and that was the one that stuck in my mind. I also thought about the TV deals too, and Ronda signing with WWE, but that one stood out the most to me for this year.
Absolutely, I think it shook everyone to the core, really, where it's just like it's a moment it peels back the curtain on everything that we thought was like a kayfabe act, at work, and we finally saw that it wasn't, and everyone was like, "Oh shit, this is for real," and it changed a lot of shit. Cyrus, what was your hottest news story of the year?
Same, the Roman Reigns thing. Watching wrestling like 3 years ago, I watched WrestleMania and then I watched the Raw right after. And the first thing I see, like watching a Raw for the first time in years, is Daniel Bryan retiring. And then, having that same feeling when Roman came out in the casual clothes. Like, I think once we all saw Roman come out in jeans, we were just like, oh no.
Yeah, but I thought it was gonna be like his shoulder. I thought it was gonna be like his shoulder or like his bicep or, he had. But that I never expected that.
It tugged at the heartstrings, man. It was really sad. It's not a. It's sad, man.
Absolutely,
bro. Real shit. I tear up every time I hear my real name is Joe. Like every time.
It's I hate the promo. I hate that they keep bringing it back. Like I really hate they show it during the Seth Rollins feud with Dean. I'm like, stop showing that fucking promo. MJ, what was your hottest news story of the year?
Mine was also like the TV deals.
Okay.
Anytime like they do like it's a $2 billion thing and one is moving to Fox, like especially with all the talk of like ratings are down and WWE's quality is down and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, well, they're moving to Fox. Primetime, like Fox is like building around fucking SmackDown. So it's still profitable. It's still like, Vince could still pull out a deal or two anytime he wants to. So
the bag is profound.
Too profound.
Man. As long as I don't have to see a Chris Lee Knows Best commercial.
Yo, for real.
That's real, bro. That's real.
But I'm gonna miss watching Modern Family before both shows.
Hey, I get real invested in like the last 8 minutes of Modern Family every time before Raw.
I turn on my TV, I see Manny, I start dying, bro.
Man, listen, Fox has a lot of terrible television that I'm sure you guys will
get into.
Yeah, get into. I'm sure.
Yeah. Ugly New York said his hottest news story of the year was also Roman leaving because of leukemia. Let's go to the other guys here. Chris Novak said that the hottest news story of the year was Becky Lynch becoming the hottest star in the company, which I think is very underrated because it came out of nowhere. But I feel like that was more of like a I hate that he's not here to defend himself. I'm sorry, but I feel like that was more of like a ongoing story. That wasn't like a moment and then everything happened. Because the moment of that happening was her turning on Charlotte, but then the actual hit came afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
Big Tim said that his hottest news story of the year was the Saudi Arabia controversy.
that was my runner-up, so
yeah,
that up there too.
Yeah, that's on my runner-up.
Is there a story that you guys want to hear less of ever? I listen.
I never want to hear about it ever again after this report.
It's going to come up in May next year.
Yeah.
The whole debate's going to start again about the women's evolution and how WWE is only doing it because they got to take the Saudi Arabia money. I'm sick of it.
Because people don't understand deals and contracts, and
they don't make money.
Like, did anybody else see that article the other day? Like, WWE is going back twice next year. Well, yeah, that's how contracts work, my guy. I don't know what you're real surprised about.
It's depressing. But yeah, absolutely. That is that. I would say that's like a top 3 story of the year. Also, I to me have blocked the Saudi Arabia stuff out. It's just the discourse around it is just so toxic, and it exposes people on both sides. So it's like it's either you're super woke, but you don't really care about the women, or you care about just all types of shit that just doesn't even really, you never really even fucking cared about.
Like people fake caring about the women in Saudi Arabia to further their narrative that WWE is scared of New Japan and Ring of Honor. I don't know how those things like correlate, but that side made it work.
It's going to get worse in January though, once they announce what they announce. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that actually leads me into the kind of like the final segment before we let you guys go. 2019 predictions. I just want one prediction that you think is going to happen in 2019, and we're going to have to come back to this December 2019. But I want to start off. Actually, let's start off with Meelz. What's your 2019 prediction? What do you want to happen?
Ooh, do you really want that Meelz booking in 2019? Let's see.
That's why I picked you first.
Let's see. If I had to pick, you know what? Ronda Rousey will lose at WrestleMania.
And not a moment before.
Not a moment before, but she will lose at WrestleMania.
To who?
I don't know. I didn't book that far ahead. But she's losing. Big L. Big goose egg L.
Happens.
Cyrus, what's your 2019 prediction? It could be any brand, any type of wrestling. It could be wrestling as a whole, anything.
This wasn't on the Excel sheet that you sent us, so
I know because we're having a conversation. What the hell?
Something crazy off the top. Rob Van Dam returns to WWE.
All right.
Someone's getting hurt if that happens.
That is my wild prediction.
Do you want to see Rob Van Dam come back? Does anyone want to see him come back?
No. He's my man. Don't get me wrong, but no, I'm good, bro. We don't need that.
Well, fuck you. I don't care. Rob Van Dam comes back, baby.
X, what is your 2019 prediction?
I got the future of SmackDown Live, Andrade Cien Almas winning the world title.
Oh wow. This guy can't even sniff TV, and you want him to win.
I'm going forward with it, bro.
Chris Mack, what's your wild 2019 prediction?
It's been my prediction for years to come, but I believe it's going to happen this time around. New Japan forcing to use talent in other home promotions to work the G1 when everybody leaves.
We're finally going to get Marufuji back in the G1 next year.
Oh, man, you're telling me we have to use Japanese talent? The president is going to be sick.
Jay White going to be shaking, bro.
Oh, MJ, what is your wild 2019 prediction?
I'm going to go ahead and parse on that Jay White point that he's going to be the world champion by Dominion. I'll say that. I'll actually say I'm definitely going to be. I'm actually going. You know what? I'll move that up. I say that he wins it by New Beginning. Wow. He'll be the world champion because his Kenny's going to leave. Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, Ben Coyle. What? Oh God, you're going to say Kevin Owens is going to win the title, aren't you?
I've got some great booking ideas.
Matt Riddle.
Mine is the Revival wrestles the Young Bucks in 2019.
Wow. And Evolve?
I think that they're going to work out. I think the Elite's going to somehow work out a one-off where they get at least one match in the WWE.
Okay.
I mean, it's insane that, because Gargano and Ciampa kind of did it with NXT. Those dudes were working Evolve shows the same day as TakeOver. I think the Elite's smart enough, and they know that they're not going to be able to do all Elite on their own. But they try and broker some sort of one-off deal.
All right.
That could possibly happen during Mania weekend.
Yeah, it could, especially since they don't have to. They don't have to.
Show.
They don't have to be kind of like curtailed to New Japan contracts.
Yeah.
My prediction was originally always going to be Kenny Omega's leaving. I've since changed that, and I'll say something. This pie in the sky here. WWE is going to do something very, very interesting with. I think they're going to have a tournament. I think they're going to have a tag tournament next year. And I think that tag tournament is going to have stars, and it kind of harps on what Ben was saying, but I think they're going to do a partnership with New Japan, and they're going to have New Japan talent in this tag team tournament, and we're going to see a New Japan WWE relationship next summer.
Oh, man, if they stop fucking with Ring of Honor.
Damn, rip ROH then.
Yeah, I think I wholeheartedly, and this is without any knowledge of anything, I wholeheartedly think that that's going to start with a tag tournament, or there's going to be a tag tournament that has stars like Kushida and other people in it from New Japan, and that working relationship is going to start. I think that it's like probably already in motion. Yeah, kind of like think of like the mixed match challenge, but with big, kind of like with mixed teams. So you have a Nakamura and someone else on the team with someone, like it wouldn't be certified tag teams. It would be a lot of different people.
Booking this, bro. Don't get me excited, bro.
Oh man,
we got to get Tanahashi versus Cena somehow then.
Somehow.
Damn.
But I'm kind of
versus Rob Van Dam, baby.
I honestly think, just to kind of go into what you guys were saying about New Japan using new talent, is that they think of the new frontier as not just being just Japanese talent, but going overseas. I mean, you see them kind of touring in North Carolina and states that actually are big hubs for wrestling. And I think the next frontier of that is them actually reaching out to WWE and saying, hey, like, this is a lot. This isn't about competition. And I don't think WWE sees anything as a competition anymore. I think they see it as, we need to start protecting our stars. And we need to start having a way that these guys can make money without having to kill their bodies in the indies. And the best way to do that is to do what they're doing with NXT. And I think, again, this leads into a natural progression of NXT and having NXT Japan. Like, where are they going to get that talent from?
I mean, they did loan out Liger for that random Brooklyn.
God, please do it again, man.
Yeah,
I know, man.
Please.
It's go ahead.
Liger can't even get on the Wrestle Kingdom card, so might as well.
He'll probably be in the Rumble, the Wrestle Kingdom Rumble, the New Japan Rumble. But once again, thank you guys for joining us for our year-end special. This has been an incredible show. I love doing the shows with Real Wrestle Chat because you guys always come with not only the N-words, but
my bad.
Sorry about that, man.
The great wrestling hot takes. I want to thank everyone from Ugly New York, Chris Novak, Big Tim, Chris Mack, Ben Koyo, Cyrus, MJ, X, and everyone else in the chat, Ampavelli, everyone who couldn't be here, Jake, everybody in Real Wrestle Chat. Thank you guys for providing just such a great commentary and just being great guys in general. It's been a great fucking year in wrestling, I must say. I think 2018 was an amazing. I think wrestling keeps topping itself every year with shit that we don't think is going to happen, and it does. And 2018 just proved that we're coming into a new golden age, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Wow, Cyrus, are you okay?
Listen, Cyrus is about to go, man. We've had him on for too long, man.
Yes.
This is the last one recording.
Yeah. Soon as he's gonna die as soon as I hit stop on this. So
Cyrus's life is ending as soon as the pod does, bro.
So we'll be right back on the A Show with our closing thoughts with myself and Meelz. So we'll be right back after the break. And we are back on the A Show, episode 62, year end, part 2, with Meelz and myself, Justin. We have just went through our complete year-end categories, especially with the 2019 hot takes. Meelz, it's been a long year, my brother. It's gonna get even better next year. It's been a fucking ride doing this show with you for another year.
I mean, we've hit over 60 episodes. We had our year celebration. We've had our guests on the show. I mean, I want to give a thanks to the guests on the show, even if I wasn't even on the show physically, to also be a part of this entire thing. But I want to give a thanks to, hashtag the RWC, the Real Wrestle Chat, and hashtag the fellas, just in general, for continue to support the show and just continuing to, just be a part of it whenever they're asked to come on and give their takes, and always just have an enjoyable experience with doing the show. I want to give a big up to Stack Eye Greg, supporting the show, being on our year-end show, also giving us a cool shout out on Cheap Heat earlier this year, which is just insane. I want to give a shout out to Ernest Wilkins for, I mean, to me, when you look back on our show over the last couple of years, I think really that segment is a fantastic segment to listen to. And I listened to it as someone who wasn't on the show. So I listened to it as just a pure listener and a fan. I thought that was fantastic. I want to give a shout out to Alexis Littlefoot. Oof.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our best shows.
One of our best shows. The spiciest show as well. I mean, it was fantastic. It really was. Who else was on the show this year?
Shayna Baszler was on the show this year.
Shayna Baszler, Cesaro, Carmella, Samoa Joe.
Yes. Bill Handstock.
Bill Handstock, fantastic. Oh my God, Bill.
We've had a shout out Stokely Hathaway. Wale. Shout out to Wale for always supporting the show and being just a fan of the show. Like, he'll literally hit me up and be like, "Yo, I got to meet this guy Meelz." He loves your takes.
Oh my God.
Emilio Sparks, of course, for being on the first part of this, and also Wrestle Rap in general for supporting the show as well, and just being we're like a great family of podcasts here between us and Wrestle Rap.
Yeah. Gosh, I feel like I'm missing someone.
Are we missing someone?
Who did we have on our year-end show?
Shout out to Amp for giving us a shout out.
Amp Valley, always, man. Come on, talk about it.
Are we forgetting someone? I don't know if we're forgetting someone.
I don't know. I don't want to, because I feel like everyone has played a pivotal role in just being in the part of our show. Like, we couldn't have done this for over a year without everyone who was involved. I mean, everyone who supported, even, Black Announce Table, always supporting, the people on Twitter, always supporting, just everyone in general, people at WWE 2K who, gave us the opportunity to interview wrestlers for the show.
And we're going to be back. We're going to be back next year.
And even, our bonus shows that we did this year. I mean, we try to fit in as much as we can, and I think we gave them amazing content. And I think we'll continue to do that through 2019.
Yeah, I think we've already been kind of like brainstorming some amazing ideas, and we want more for the show. We want more for the listeners, and we want to be able to do more. Like, I think this is like, I feel like we're making a difference in a lot of ways, and it's humbling to me that people look forward to this show every single week, no matter how long the show is. They love talking about wrestling. They love to hear us talk about wrestling, and it's just this is a little wrestling podcast that could, and honestly, keep it 100. This is their little wrestling podcast that spawned literally a whole network of other shows.
100%, man. So, thank you for everyone for supporting over 2018. We look forward to going into 2019 with some brand new, fresh takes. Hopefully Wrestle Kingdom is good, because that is the next big show on our radar.
Yep.
And then after that, we'll continue to be on the way. I mean, we have WrestleMania coming up. We hope to do some great things there and just continue with the overall evolution of the A show.
And it's actually going to be strange because Wrestle Kingdom's on a Friday this year, so it'll be after. It won't be next week's episode. It'll be the week after. So we'll have a whole. You should be able to watch it. Actually, we'll have a whole weekend to watch it.
Is it still doing that one that's? When is it airing again?
Late, but you can watch it Saturday or Sunday at this point.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Saturday or Sunday. You have a lot of opportunities to watch the show.
Oh, this is true, because Wrestle Kingdom be like 8 hours long, like that show. Or feels like 8 hours long.
Oh my God. All right. So until next time, you guys have a safe and happy new year. We will be back next week in 2019 with the latest and greatest takes from pro wrestling with the Kings of Pro Wrestling podcast. So for one last time in 2018, for Meelz, this is Justin. Thank you for listening to The A Show.
Happy Rusev Day.